counter moves to block what they're trying to do. So, you know, other than obvious things with blatant crimes that they've committed or things that somebody's outed them on, we don't really know what they're up to. And I have heard about Paul Ryan retiring. I heard about that several weeks ago, and then somebody else said it's not true, but I heard he wasn't running again. I think as the heat gets turned up, and if he is worried about somebody unearthing something in his past, he may just step down. I have a feeling a lot of these people think by not running again, they're protected from being prosecuted, which I sure hope that's not true, because if they committed crimes, they need to be tried and prosecuted for it, and appropriate sentencing carried out. Syndication, yeah, we've talked about the Broward County Sheriff. We talked about him last week, and we discussed it a little bit last night, not in detail at all, but that's a very interesting situation. And that's when I was looking into that, somebody in the chat room, I think it was, popped up that Roger Stone, I don't remember how he got into the conversation, but Roger Stone has a son or stepson who is a policeman in Broward County. And apparently, I think they said, now let me think about this. I think they said he was friends with Sheriff Israel, but I don't quote me on that one because I'm not 100% on that. Oh, thank you, Pumpkin Seed. That's very nice. Bad Tom 7 says, Trump does not announce his plans in advance, right? Why Syria? Why now? To draw the bad actors out? And who knows? You know, a lot of times it's a multi-pronged thing with him. He's a very intelligent man, and he has very intelligent advisors. And when you think one thing is how it is, it tends to be that there's like one answer. No, there's like 5 answers. That's why they did it, was for 5 different reasons. I think it's awesome to watch how they operate. Yeah, so we don't know. You know, I think what he's done also, you've got bad actors in DC, and that's blatantly obvious. And I think he's managed to leverage them into doing what he needs them to do. And I've noticed that he'll hire people for a job. They'll do the job, then he lets them go. And that's a successful businessman at work, because once a person has done a job and they've done the best that they can for the job, if there's nothing else for them to do, you trade them in for somebody different who can do a different job that you need done. So it's fun to watch how he operates. Conchaz 100, can we talk about rhinos and Dems working together for rhinos leaving both houses? I think this is their plan for Dems to take over the houses to stop President Trump. We have to stop. Yeah, you know, what my belief is, and I've stated on here before, I believe that the Republican Party was infiltrated by some of very hard leftists, and the Democrat Party has obviously also been guided to the left, because the Democrat Party of the 50s is like the far right in the Republican Party now. Everything has taken a hard shift to the left, but it's pretty obvious when you see people like he who shall not be named as running as a Republican. Is blatantly obvious that we've been co-opted in the Republican Party, and it was done on purpose to get everybody to go left, because the left are the ones that are basically behind the globalism and all that. They want to have a global government where they can control everyone and everything they do. There's just some people that want to control everything you do. Look at your local. You can look at your local town or city and see the different things they've done to you, trying to hem you in with things, and it's control. You look at what they want. They took your light bulbs away. Really? They want you to use a different light bulb because they think they're smarter than you. I don't know what the deal is. It's just control. They want to control you. So now you're using a different kind of light bulb because some bunch of yahoos in DC, instead of taking care of more important issues, decided light bulbs were an issue. They're trying to work on taking away your access to high-dose vitamin C for cancer treatment. Why? It's not killing anyone. So why are they concerned about stupid things like that? It's just control, absolute control. Drives me nuts. It drives you guys nuts, I'm sure, too. But yeah, when there is a criminal enterprise happening and people see that there's money being made, other criminals will flock to that area. Well, guess what? Look at the people in DC. They go in, they're making $174,000 a year, and 4 years later they come out as multimillionaires. How does that happen? We can't do that. Yes, check Ryan's net worth. Check all of their net worth. OpenSecrets.org is a good resource for that. There are a lot of different resources you can look into, but they've made, from what I understand, they have made insider trading legal for them, illegal for us. And the fact that they have done that, that's not a lawful act. What they have done is not lawful, because the Constitution makes it clear that there is no special treatment for any man. So yeah, there's a lot of, drives me nuts. Am I the only one on air right now? Because I'm talking so much. If anybody wants to join in, I'm more than happy to step down.
I'm in and out, so I'm not consistent. But I hear you.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad you're here. I'm not all alone.
Hey, Flipper, I'm here too, but I'm driving home, and once I get home, I'm going to be getting off. So you have me here for about 15, 20 minutes. So.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I feel like I'm hogging all the airwaves, and nobody else has a chance to talk. I'm just wondering if maybe there's nobody else that is able to talk right now. That's not. I don't have a problem with that.
Oh no, you're doing a good job. I was just listening and being entertained. I didn't really have anything a whole lot to add to what you were saying, so I figured
and I just got in from shopping, so.
Well, awesome. Well, I'm glad you guys are with me. I don't feel so alone. Let's see. Katie Smith. What if stolen info on Facebook contains evidence of pedophiles, criminal activity of the elites and deep state? I'm not quite sure. My brain's not processing that for some reason. I'm not sure. Can you clarify that in another statement, please? Let's see. Ricky Roush says the Liberty Caucus will be what's left of the Republican Party. The Dems will collapse into socialist, fascist, communists, etc. after the election fraud is exposed. I think the election fraud, it should be front and center of what's happening right now. People, and I do think they're working on that. I do agree. Once the election fraud is exposed, there are going to be a lot of Republicans and Democrats are going to be pilloried for that.
Yeah, I'd like to add that I think once Trump is finished with his agenda, I think the right-left two-party paradigm is about to come crumbling down in a big way. So I think the words Democrat and Republican, I think they're not long for this world. I don't think that we're going to be in the same system for a whole lot longer. But that's just my 2 cents.
I sure hope you're right.
From your mouth to God's ears. I intensely dislike being pigeonholed into an R or a D, because in Washington State, in order to vote, I had to register as one or the other. And I don't always agree with either one of them.
Right. And then you also get elections like Obama McCain, or, Obama McRomney, which it's like, okay, which deep state operative do I want to choose to screw me over for the next 4 years?
Exactly.
So I mean, that's what's got to change. America needs more than 2 choices. There should be 5 or 6 different people running. All of them should be debating on the same even plane, and have the exact same exposure. And the lobbyists and campaign donations need to go. It needs to be more of a grassroots and organic debate on issues, rather than who can spend the most money and get the most celebrity endorsement.
I agree. And, I have considered thinking on the line of, why not give every candidate the same amount of money to campaign with, and no more and no less? Because I can't run for president because I'm not a millionaire, and I don't have millionaire backing, and that is wrong. The nation was meant to be operated by people like your neighbor. Your senator should have been the farmer down the street, your pharmacist, maybe your teacher or your neighbor, just the housewife or whatever. It was never meant to be run by elite yahoos with tons of money in their pocket and special interest groups supporting them. That was never the intention. That's why we are where we are right now. One of the reasons we are where we are right now is because there's a special group of people who are running, and there's nobody else can get into that special club, and it's really disgusting. I think the thing that set Trump apart was that he had his own money. He was able to use that and not be bought off to get into office. where other ones they had leverage on them because they were loaned money or given money, special interest groups, different things like this, lobbyist money. They were all working. The person running had debts to pay to these people when they got elected. And so they were not working for us, they were working for special interests and like big pharma or large corporations. They were just they're bought and paid for, which is really sad. And that's what happens. You get people who are not working for the people; they're working for helping this guy. Well, we're going to give him special tax write-offs because he donated $20,000 to the campaign. And these people also, I think, tend to nose their way into the politics and go to these parties. And there's a lot of dirty stuff going on. People are compromised, and that compromise makes them dirty. Deep state. It creates the swamp beast. And maybe some of these people never wanted to start out about that, but that's where they end up. And some of them are bad. Some people are naturally just out for themselves, and that's what they look for. But I think there are some good people that went into politics thinking they were going to make things different and change things for the better. And it didn't work out that way because in order to get somewhere, they had to compromise what they stood for. And that should never have to happen.
Yeah, I think a lot of what you have too is a lot of these special interest groups that donate this money. A lot of high up people in these big corporations sit on think tanks, and they basically write policy and deliver it to their buddies in Congress to get them to write the legislation or to pass it through. I don't really think that a lot of the legislation that's written is written by our lawmakers. I think it's written by the corporations that put the lawmakers into place through these think tanks, and then it's kind of pushed through them. And, this illusion that our Congress people and our legislators are actually legislating. I think most of them are just there to sit there, wear their suit and vote whatever way they're supposed to when the time comes, collect their paycheck and go home.
Right.
I don't think a lot of them actually do what we elect them to do, even on the level of, doing it for the special interest rather than for us. I don't even think they do that much. I honestly think that this legislation is just kind of dropped on their desk and they just, sign their name, and that's pretty much the extent of their jobs.
Exactly. Which begs the question, what are legislators doing if they're not legislating? What are they doing with all their free time and coming out multimillionaires? Well, I think that pretty much speaks for itself.
Yeah, it's pretty much like a big country club. They're all kind of a member of this club. They have special access. They have special privileges that the rest of us don't have. They don't. I mean, I can't speak for every congressperson. I don't know. I don't have sauce on it, but I'm willing to bet that these people don't put in 40-hour work weeks or even close to that. Most of them. And they make forget the extra money they get on the side. I mean, $175,000 yearly salary is a really good salary in almost any field.
Right.
And they're making that on taxpayer dollars, and that they're not putting in the hour that the taxpayers are for a fraction of that. So, the fact that these people, leave office with millions and millions and millions of dollars from selling out the very people that they represent on their dime, it's so disgusting. It's hard to comprehend.
Yeah, it is. And there's so many people who are living close to poverty in order to pay their taxes, and you have these yahoos in there and having all these special privileges and perks. Not only that, but not earning it, but getting that same amount of money for the rest of their lives. I think, number one, that needs to stop now. They need to stop that now. They need to go on Social Security if they want an income in their old age to supplement their investments. It's not only that, but they're millionaires. What do they need $174,000 a year for the rest of their life for? It's disgusting. It's just disgusting. Because you're taking that out of some taxpayer's pocket, make them stay fat and healthy. It makes me sick.
Yeah, that needs to stop immediately. These, lifetime salaries and benefits for a few years of service. I mean, these people aren't, give that money to our veterans, that come home and actually can't do work, or, have PTSD. Use that money on them. They're the ones that need, a lifetime salary and benefits after their service. These Congress people don't. They should have some kind of backup career once they're done serving a couple terms, which I think there should be term limits also. These career politicians need to go. But yeah, I mean, it's disgusting that a person can come in for a term or two, sell out policy to special interest, and then after doing the dirty work, just leave and then collect a fat paycheck to do nothing the rest of their lives. While a military person can go to war and be have their life and their quality of life severely diminished by injuries, and come back and then basically neglected by the same system. It's just an absolute travesty, and it needs to be changed and reworked from the ground up, as far as I'm concerned.
Very well said. Absolutely. And we don't do enough for our veterans. I absolutely agree. And even if they weren't injured or have issues from the vaccines they took or one of the many things that happened to a soldier, they deserve the best treatment we can give them because they put their lives on the line. And when they sign up, a lot of them, there may not be a war at the time, but they sign up with the knowledge that there could be a war and they could die. That's a heck of a job description. And when they come back all chopped up and injured and hurt, it breaks my heart to see that because a lot of them have gone over many times and done several tours, and it's just devastating what it does to them. So yeah, I agree. Why are these yahoos who are sending them over there, getting into wars, sending them over there, getting money and living high on the hog in their, maybe after having ran one term or two terms, living well on $174,000 a year when these guys are barely scraping by and can't feed their families? It's criminal. It really is. It makes me sick. As for term limits, I think once, and this is my opinion, I think once the vote fraud is exposed, I think people will automatically be inspecting people in office with a magnifying glass to make sure that they're behaving, and I think that will automatically work as a term limit because if they're not doing something right, they'll be out. I think the exposure of vote fraud is going to make a big difference in how even the sheeple view politicians and politics.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's at the very fabric of our democracy is the integrity of our voting system. But I want to go back to what you were saying about these politicians who will, with the flick of a wrist, send our troops to war. We've heard this is a battle of good and evil a bunch of times. In my eyes, war is just a mass human sacrifice to whatever effed up god they believe in or demon they believe in. That's the only explanation. It's just a massive human sacrifice on a grand scale, and nothing more than that. Yeah, there's a lot of profit and money that they get, and it lines a lot of bad people's pockets as well. But I think there's a spiritual element to it as well, and it's literally a mass human sacrifice to whatever entity they believe in. So I might be a little bit overboard there, but that's just how I view it. I just can't understand it any other way other than to look at it that way.
I got to tell you, I think you're spot on. The more research I've done, and I've been researching satanic stuff for off and on over the last probably 20 years, the more I find, the more I think that you're spot on that. And it may not be on the part of every person voting for a war, but for the most part, or a conflict, it is done, and their blood is shed, and where blood is shed by innocence, I believe that Satan is behind meddling somewhere. But they do blood sacrifices. That's their big thing. So yes, I'm in agreement with you on that. That it is just like people are saying that the same with abortion. And I have to admit, you look at how they speak, the videos that were taken. Undercover videos taken of the meeting of the Planned Parenthood people, what they were saying, what they do with the parts to the babies, and I mean all that. It's reprehensible, but it's also part and parcel of Satanism. And I have no doubt there are Satanists in high places all over the world. The Bible even discusses that.
Yeah, and I think of war also as the first step in destroying the family, right? Because what do? You send away fathers to go die, and then you have single parent homes, which create a whole litany of challenges. And what do? You end up giving your kid to the state to educate and kind of watch over while that single parent is now trying to put food on the table. So I just think that this whole idea of these mass wars, they serve a bunch of purposes, but I don't know exactly. I'm just kind of going off on a rant here, but it's so frustrating to kind of look at it, especially like when you look at the history of the wars America has been involved in. Almost all of them have been started on suspicious grounds. When you think about the Gulf of Tonkin incident, the sinking of the Lusitania, even some of the stuff that's come out about Pearl Harbor. I mean, 9/11 is as obvious as it gets, but I mean, I honestly can't think of a single war since the turn of the 19th century that was, started on legitimate grounds. Every single one of them, our catalyzing event that kind of got us into it, seems to be some kind of false flag and deep state operation to manufacture the consent of the public. There's something bigger going on when you look at all these wars, and I think they are all connected.
Oh yeah, and also look at who's making the money. War is a money-making venture, and it makes a lot of people a lot of money. Look at who's behind, who makes the MREs, who makes the guns, who makes bullets, who makes the remember, oh gosh, I remember, what was it, about 8 years ago when the soldiers overseas were getting such crappily, is that a word? Probably not. Shoddily made boots and body armor that they were actually having people in the United States, their families, mail them higher quality stuff so that it could protect their lives, because the contractor with the government was churning out crap. And that's, oh my gosh, I remember reading that thinking, what is going on? You need to find out, and I didn't at the time, and I should have. I'm very guilty of not doing this. I should have found out who the manufacturer was of their boots and of the body armor, and traced it back to find out which politician had whose pocket he was in, or their pocket, who was doing this. Because I remember reading years ago that Lady Bird Johnson owned the company that made the MREs, the meals ready to eat for the soldiers during the Vietnam conflict, and it was a money-making venture, and that's one of the reasons it dragged on for 18 years. But yeah, it's criminal. And Lulu Anon says, Flipper, I had to send my friend new boots too. The ones they provided were awful. So there's somebody right there that can testify firsthand. So I don't have sauce on the Lady Bird Johnson thing. Hopefully it's still out there where I can find it. They are scrubbing the internet of a lot of this stuff, so it's getting really hard to find sauce on different things, especially historical.
Yeah, if you guys in YouTube chat, anyone really, if you haven't read War is Racket by Smedley Butler, I highly recommend it. He goes kind of through the economics of war, and he gives a few examples of how messed up it is, where I think it was World War I, the United States manufactured so many boots, and they had whatever company make the boots, and then after the war was over, they had an excess of boots. So they changed the standard of the boots to make them all those boots useless. They scrapped the boots and sold the scrap material back to the company that originally made the boots at a huge discount, let them basically rebuild the quote unquote new standard of boot, and then let them resell them to the government, all on the taxpayer's dime, essentially.
Oh my gosh, I never heard that before.
Yeah. Yeah, it's called War is Racket. I might not be doing it the exact justice it deserves, but he kind of goes through this process with a few different wartime goods that you would need to go to battle, and just kind of shows the process in which the government is just lining the pockets of their crony friends in these different industries, by just changing little standards on the equipment, so they have to keep remaking it and keep making us, the taxpayer, subsidize and pay for it. It's really disgusting. And he does a really good job kind of laying it out. But yeah, if you've never, it's not a long read. It probably wouldn't take you more than a couple hours to read through. It's really eye opening, and it was written, I think, in the 40s. So it's I believe it still holds true today, though, the general concept of what he's saying.
Well, thanks. I'm glad you gave a synopsis of that, because I saw somebody bringing it up in the chat yesterday. And it's one of the many books. I was thinking, well, maybe I'll get to that, but I didn't know what it was about. So now that I know, it gives me more incentive to read it, because it's funny, what you just described is exactly what's going on in DC now. The collusion between politics and corporations, and how they're tearing things apart and then repackaging and reselling it basically as something else, and giving these companies such huge breaks on things. And it's a symbiotic relationship where somebody scratches one person's back, the other one scratches theirs, and there's money in between. It's all about money. And I think that simplifies. I remember years ago realizing, follow the money. And I'd never heard the term before, but I realized at the time that's it. But other people were coming up with it also. So I wasn't the only one. Obviously, many, many people understand. Follow the money. Money was being made. So go find it. Simplifies the search. Figure out who's making money off of something. Politicians obviously are making money off of something that's not related to their job. So where's the money coming from? Who are their associates? What businesses? What bills are they promoting? And what businesses would be affected by those bills? Find out and do some searching. And what I do is I'll go to the CEO, and then I'll go to the board of directors. And a lot of times, if you hit a company's board of directors and start looking into it, you'll find that they're tied in with these different foundations, and every foundation pays them a salary. And you'll find that they just play musical chairs, hopping around from foundation to foundation on a regular basis. Meanwhile, making policy and affecting government decisions, and rubbing elbows with the DC bunch if they're not in it to begin with. I found different presidents, the older President Bush and Clinton and other people, deeply involved in these higher end foundations. And if you look into what they stand for and what they've done, very, very scary things. So it's like a big spider web, a big cotton ball of corruption that's all rolled up. And what I found after many years of researching, it's all connected. These people are all connected. So at some point, you're going to run across them over and over again. And it's always surrounding money.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want to know how these people get their giant net worths, the simple answer: they get their giant net worths by selling your personal liberties and your tax dollars for pennies on the dollar. That's essentially what they're doing. If you want to put it in those simple terms, they're selling your personal rights and your tax dollars. As funny as that sounds, they're selling your tax dollars for pennies on the dollar. They're liquidating essentially your hard work. And on that, I have to go. It's been nice talking to you, Flipper. Sorry I couldn't interact with the YouTube chat because I was driving. Maybe I'll be able to jump on later tonight, but if not, I will talk to you all tomorrow.
It was great talking to you too. I hope you come back tonight. It was fun. I learned a lot.
Yeah, hopefully I can. Have a good night, everybody.
You too. Okay, for your information, Natasha Fan says Rockefeller art collection for sale, Wall Street Journal. Art is their currency, and I've noticed in the last year to year and a half that the uber wealthy are selling off a lot of their art. So it's kind of interesting. You have to ask yourself what's going on there. What are they using the money for? I suspect they are sheltering it and maybe investing in something else right now that's more lucrative for them. And what it tells me is there's a good possibility they may be planning on crashing something and devaluing the dollar. So something to look into, and keep your eyes open. Oh, interesting. Rusty D says Yahoo email has new terms of service this morning, includes a waiver for civil lawsuits. Amazon Kindle app has a new terms of service too. What to do? That's a good question. Go to a different email server. I would just take everything out of Yahoo and go to a different email server. Start Page has one you have to pay for it, but it might be a better option. I think it's $50 a year. I'm not 100% of that. If you can't afford that, look at other options, and don't play ball with them. And Amazon Kindle app. I know there are other apps you can use. You don't have to use Amazon Kindle, from what I understand. And they're constantly doing this. They're always changing the rules and regulations to benefit them. So I try not to participate if possible. Danny Clark says, via mail online. Pope begs for forgiveness as he admits making grave errors in defending a Chilean bishop accused of ignoring child abuse. I haven't seen that yet, but yeah, that's a whole can of worms I'm not going to get into right now. Let people that are more informed on the church involvement in that. I feel bad for the Catholics because they've got. I don't know any Catholic that likes that Pope. And I know there's some out there, but I haven't met any. They are very discouraged by him. But I'm not going to get into that. Zuckerberg is a Rockefeller. There's been rumors on that. I haven't seen any sauce, but there have been a lot of rumors on that. And just as Bill Clinton, there were rumors with him also. And we know that they do operate with dynasties, familial dynasties. So the bloodline, so to speak. It's possible, I guess. I mean, we don't know. I don't know his mom and dad, and I haven't seen pictures of his mother and father. A lot of times you can just look at pictures of the parents and you'll know right away if they're, some people are spitting images, so there's no doubt. But let's see, Q team. I believe Trump needs the dollar and the market to collapse in order to bring in the new global backed currencies. That's a possibility. Is there a better way of doing that? Does the dollar have to collapse to bring in the gold-backed currencies? Can't they just convert? I'm not a money expert. I wouldn't know, but I would think Trump, if he is who he claims to be, would find the least destructive way of that conversion because he operates, he's got a lot of capital. So he's somebody that wouldn't want to devalue his empire because that affects him and his children. So he would be working in the best interest of his children, I think, and country. So we'll see what happens there. Let's see. Puppy Max is always complaining about me not breathing. It's nice that you've got concern about my health. I appreciate that. First Rothschild fire sale, and now the poor Rockefellers are selling their fine arts. Looks like a rummage sale. Fortunate son. What I really believe with a lot of these things, like that castle or whatever it was, the big place in the Black Forest in Germany. When I first read that, I thought that's been in the family for 178 years or thereabouts. They don't lightly liquidate things such as that, but that came out after President Trump made his I'm sorry, I blacked out. He made the rule of the seizing assets of people who are found guilty of certain crimes on December 21st of last year. Well, I think what's happening is that they are so-called selling, they're making it look like they no longer own these properties and possessions. I believe that they're being transferred to people who are friendly to their cause and with full expectation that they will regain them when the dangers of having them removed from their persons is past. That's my opinion, but that seems to make the most sense because these people, they aren't stupid. They're stupid in some ways, but when it comes to money, they're not. They protect themselves and they have friends who protect them. Fed needs to be gone, or more of this. I agree. The Fed needs to be gone. I believe it's an illegal, this is my opinion, it's an illegal construct. And it's created value out of nothing. Your dollar bill represents nothing more than your belief that it has value. So are there any other, let's see, what would you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about, I haven't seen anything new from Q, so with just my luck while I'm on here alone, we'll probably get a ton of Q drops.
You're
Hey,
not
guys.
alone. Hi.
Hey,
What's
hi.
up?
Woohoo, I got company.
Yeah. How you doing?
Awesome. Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm having fun. I love talking to people in the YouTube chat.
How's Coder? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, man, how's it going? I'm just popping in here too. Yeah, Flipper, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing? What you up to?
Oh, well, doing a lot of production work.
The fun stuff.
But yeah, I just saw that the president signed that bill for the sex trafficking stuff. So that's good news, everybody.
Woohoo! Good job. Yeah, that's good to hear. Fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you
so
give
that
us a,
was HR 1865, which allows states and victims to fight online sex trafficking act. Uh, so, um, so anyway, yeah, that's real good news. Definitely good news.
yes, it is. That's a step in the right direction, and that's going to make the rat scurry, isn't it?
Well, finally, we can potentially look at, accountability, and I also heard old Jerry Brown over there. He went ahead and approved the deployment of some National Guard over there. It helps us supporting the border. So that's kind of interesting also.
Yeah, it is. I wonder what conversation he had that got him to change his mind. I can only
Federal
imagine.
funding.
There you
Federal
go.
funding. That's what it was,
Yep. Once again, money.
Yep, money
That's
talks.
good. I'm glad.
Yep, money
Exactly.
talks.
Yep. I'm glad to
Hey.
hear that because the people need it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you were talking about the Federal Reserve, and it is illegal. That's not just an opinion. That's pretty much fact. And it's the system there is funny that you were talking about that, because I was thinking about it on my drive to the office this morning, or actually just a few minutes ago. So it's not morning anymore, but it needs to go away. It has no business being a part of our financial system whatsoever.
Right.
Yeah, and I'll tell you guys, I don't know if you know of Breaking Spectre, but he's somebody that's on my team for all the different productions we're putting out. Anyway, he does the financial news side. So yeah, if you guys get an opportunity, definitely check out the Qniverse news that we're putting out every day. We just did episode 15 this morning, but he covers this stuff pretty good. There's a lot of good information that he collects on it. So if you guys want to learn more about, the Federal Reserve, how the dollar compares, currently, and how it's going to compare eventually. Yeah, he covers it in pretty good detail. So definitely check it out.
So how do people find that?
Yeah, just go to Qniverse. Really, just go to Qniverse. I think a lot of the folks here in YouTube may already be over there, but if not, yeah, it's YouTube. Just go search Qniverse News, guys, man, and we're putting out a whole lot of cool stuff. So definitely check it out. But no, Breaking Spectre is real good on. He's real good on the financial side, so he has a piece in there for every episode. And so if you want to follow what's going on with all that stuff, definitely check that out.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to check that out. I haven't done that yet. It sounds very interesting.
Yeah, and there's a whole lot of other stuff in there, stuff for health and wellness. Odinata Anand, she does a good job with that. We cover the White House daily. Juniper, she does that. But it's just a whole lot of regular stuff that we cover, and then of course the rest is all this dynamic breaking stuff, right? But the financial stuff, guys, if you want to learn more about exactly what is probably going to happen here real soon, I think it's a good resource to follow, really.
It sounds like it. What time do you update? And you said that updates daily?
Yeah, we come up with a new episode every weekday for that. And then, of course, on the weekends, we actually are focused more on special report, deep dive kind of stuff. And then during the week, we also just recently started doing the Q drops. So if there's a whole bunch of Q drops, we'll actually do an episode just on specifically those, just for those people that don't have the time to hang out in here all day, and when they do show up, they may not be talking about it. You know what I'm saying? So, see, I'll give you guys a link here in a sec, but no, it's just for those people that are caught up in the matrix, and that are always asking, hey, read this, read that, but anyway, it's just kind of like a consolidation. So we've done 5 episodes of different Q drops. The one we did this morning was just on the last 5. So to give you an idea.
Awesome. People in YouTube chat are all giving you the big thumbs up on that. They love your channel.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you guys. Definitely appreciate the support. And again, it's Patriots for Patriots in my mind. And that's exactly what we've been focused on, right? As a bunch of Patriots, we can collect the news and bring it out to other Patriots. And I think that's really what we need to do because this is that second American Revolution. And we already know that the mainstream media has been weaponized against us to lie to us and all that crap. And I just, I don't know, instead of sitting around belly aching about, I decided to do something. And that's what we're doing, guys. And I have a really phenomenal team of people. So I'll share the link with you guys. Definitely, if you haven't done it already, subscribe. We've got a lot more stuff coming for sure.
Oh,
And not to take away from 24/7 and Coffee and Freedom or anything like that. We're all in this together. And it's about numbers, right? 32,000 people are currently subscribed here on the 24/7 stream. We need to get it up to millions, okay, is what we need. That's what needs to happen. And power in numbers. If we all come together, if you guys share the link, to 24/7 live stream, and just get the word out, man. And that's going to pull more and more people away from these freaking television sets that are really brainwashing us. If you really think about it, they're brainwashing us. I'm not saying all media is like that. I'm not, but I'm saying for the most part, that's what's been happening to us for generations. And they're shaping the narrative and they're forcing it on us. And meanwhile, we don't know what's going on, right? Just like over here in Syria, what's going on, right? Well, if you listen to the mainstream media, you get this whole other angle what's really going on, right? Just go look at the POTUS's tweets lately, right? You can actually get the vibe on what's really going on opposed to listen to the mainstream media. So anyway, guys, what we're doing, Patriots for Patriots, right? That's exactly why we decided to put together news for all other Patriots. And I know for a fact that Pamphlet, Radix, and there's a whole bunch of other people involved in the background when you guys don't hear them on here, right? They're working on a whole bunch of really, really good content also. Real good deep dive information. So guys, definitely stay tuned, but we've got to get the word out. 32,000, that's not a lot of numbers when you consider, man, it's 360 million people in our country. So anyway, help us help you, support everybody that's doing all this stuff. We're all volunteers. I know Flipper's been in here talking for a while, just about the day's events, but we're all doing this for free, guys. I mean, some of us, we're actually putting this together so we can bring it to you 24/7. And that's exactly what I've chosen to do. And so, guys, let me share some links with you. And definitely what you can do is support everybody by getting the information out, right? I mean, really, you're all on social media. You can share the link. It takes you about, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. Share the link, man, to the live stream here. Get more and more people involved. Get them. And I'm not going to use the term red pilled, okay? Just get them awake, okay? Get them awake, and then once people are awake, then they're going to wake other people, and on and on and on. And then eventually, man, our country can actually wake up from all these freaking lies that have been forced upon us. And so we all deserve it, man, because we're patriots, man. Under the Constitution, this should not be going on. It should not, and anyway, I'll get off the soapbox real quick. I'll grab those links, but definitely, man, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe, and definitely check out the hard work that me and my crew are doing for you guys.